Hi and welcome. My name is Obed, and today I want to take you through a new topic, and that is we want to talk about the computer's operating system and computer's application software. So the operating system is normally abbreviated as OS, and then we have the application software. Most of us normally call the application software apps, especially on a mobile phone. We are used to calling them apps. Those are application software. So let's start with an operating system. So let's try to understand what is an operating system on a computer. So you'll check the definition, but for me, my work as a teacher is to explain to you in a very simple term so that you can understand. Otherwise, I'm very sure you can read the notes for yourself, but now understanding is a different issue. So that is why my explanation could slightly be different from maybe what you can read on the screen, but the essence is to just make sure that you understand what you can read. So the operating system is a software normally loaded into your computer memory, and it manages the interaction between your computer hardware and your computer software. So the operating system is like a middleman who stands between the software and the computer hardware. So like, for example, whenever you type a letter, like for example, using a program like Microsoft Word, and you want to print that letter. So remember, that has to be sent to the printer and then get out of the printer. Now, the printer is a computer hardware. And then the software that you're using is Microsoft Word. So in between Microsoft Word and the printer, we have an operating system. And the operating system is just like a manager who manages the whole computer. The operating system manages the computer's memory, the computer storage, devices. You connect a flash disk. It is an operating system that manages that. You want to save something in a flash. So it is the work of the operating system to know how that's going to happen. So it basically manages the operations of your computer, and it also provides you with a user's working interface where you normally interact with your computer. So that is an operating system. So we have 4 categories of operating systems. The first type of operating system that we have is a real-time operating system. A real-time operating system is normally used in scenarios where time is a very important factor. And that is why real-time operating system, they are normally used to control robots, medical equipments, and other scientific equipments that so much depends on time. Like for example, in manufacturing, we have robots there that are normally time-based. Time-based because you find out that they have to run a task based on time. They don't have eyes, they don't have anything like that. So they are normally timed. In 1 second, you should have done this. In another second, you should have done this. So that is why they normally use a real-time operating system. You will see examples from the definition that I have posted on the video. That is one of the common example is QNX. So we have an operating system called QNX. And then from there, the next category of operating systems is single user, single task operating system. So from its name, it tells you the meaning, single user. It means that it only supports a single user, a single person at a time, and then it is single task. It can only perform one task at a time. So these are obsolete operating system. A very good example is Palm operating system, and we have Microsoft Disk operating system. These are older operating systems, and like right now that our computers, they're single user, but at least they are multitask. You can play music and you doing something on the internet. So that's a multitasking environment. But single user, single task operating system only support a single user at a time, and they only perform one task at a time. The next category we want to talk about is the category of single user multitask operating systems. These are the most common operating systems that are normally installed in the computers we use. And by single user multitask, it means that you can only operate that computer as a single user, a single person, but it can perform multiple purposes or multiple tasks. So that is why it's called single user but multitask. For example, you can play music while you're browsing the internet. So you could be printing a document while you're doing something different. So that is the meaning of multitask. Single user, what it means is that it can only serve you alone. Like you cannot connect two keyboards and then you divide the screen by two. You open Microsoft Word and Excel, and then you and your friend share that screen. My friend John types on Microsoft Word using one keyboard, and the other friend types on Microsoft Excel using another keyboard. You can connect two keyboards on one computer, but there is no way you can use them as different keyboards unless that technology comes in future. And very good examples of these operating systems. Number one, Android operating system that your Android phone is using. That is a single user multitask operating system. Another good example, we have operating systems from the Windows family. We have Windows 7, maybe your computer uses Windows 7. We have Windows 8, yeah. We have Windows 10, and currently we have Windows 11. And then from there, for the Linux users, yeah, we have people who use Linux operating system. A good example, the most common is Ubuntu. We have Zorin and others. So those are usually single user, but multitask. Then from there, we have the next category. The next category is multi-user operating systems. Multi-user operating systems, these are operating systems installed in computers used in network environments. That is where multiple users will connect to that computer and access it at the same time. So that is why I told you they are normally used in network environments. And most of the servers, like for example on the internet, yeah, most of them, they have a multi-user operating system installed. A good example of a multi-user operating system is Linux. So we have Unix and we have Windows Server editions. So those are the categories of operating systems that you should understand. I hope that was very clear. Now, we now want to move on to the next thing, a very interesting thing. And we now want to talk about computer application software, or what you normally call the apps. The apps. What is an application software? An application software is the software or the program installed in your computer that helps you perform your routine tasks, or it helps you solve problems in the real world. Like for example, let's assume you want to type a letter. You need a specific software or a specific program to do that. A good example is a program we call Microsoft Word. You want to do some calculations. So your computer could be on, you can see the icons and everything. But without this specific software that does the calculations, you won't be able to do that. So you need to have a software like Microsoft Excel installed. So you want to design some presentations. It could be for your chat, for a meeting or something like that. So you need that specific application software. Like for example, we have Impress and PowerPoint. So these are what we call the computer application software. So just like we say, they are the software that helps you perform your routine tasks or solve some problems in real world. So now let's go through some categories of application software that we'll learn in the basic course, in our basic course. Number one, we have a category called word processors. So what are word processors? So word processors, they are the application software we normally use to create text documents, create, edit, and even print text documents. These are things like letters, yeah, things like posters, things like resumes or CVs, yeah. So a good example of this program that allows you to create, edit, and print text documents is Microsoft Office Word. Word allows you to do that. If you want to type a letter, you open Microsoft Word, just like you can see. That is Microsoft Word that you're seeing on the screen. That is Microsoft Word. Another example that we have Google Docs. We have Writer. Yeah, those are the common examples. And then the next category is spreadsheets. So what is a spreadsheet? A spreadsheet is a special application that allows you to perform mathematical calculations. You want to analyze some data. You want to come up with charts. You want to look up for the average. You want to sort your data mathematically. So spreadsheets are the software or the application software in this category that allows you to do the maths. A very good example or a very common example is Microsoft Excel. We'll learn Microsoft Excel as part of our basic training. Another good example that we have is Google Sheets, and then we have Calc. So let's move on. The next category that you have is the category of database application software. So what are database application software? These are the software normally used to store, organize, and manage large amounts of structured data. Like for instance, you have a library. You want to store the records of all the library members, records of how you issue and get back the books. So the best software that you can use is a database software. A very good example is Microsoft Access program. So Microsoft Access is going to be one of the packages that I'll teach you. And then another example is MySQL. MySQL. So for those who will do web design and development, we reach a point and we'll use MySQL database during the process of back-end development. And then another good example is Oracle. We have Oracle as a database application software. And then from there, the next category that we have presentation software. So presentation software, these are programs that allow you to create visual presentations. These visual presentations are normally made up of slides that display information. You've probably seen these in churches. So some churches normally use a projector and some slides to display whatever is happening. Like for instance, it is a song, it is projected and you can see it there. If it is a sermon, they talk about a Bible verse and it can be projected and you can see it there on the screen. So one of the application software that you can use to do such is a software that we call Microsoft PowerPoint. And then we have another software that we call Impress and others. As part of our studies, we shall learn how to work with Microsoft PowerPoint. So the next category or the last category on this list is publishing software. So publishing software allows you to create publications. These are programs that allow you to design a layout of complex documents. Like for example, we have newsletters, we have magazines, we have eulogies, we have business cards, we have calendars, so we have banners. So publishing software allow you to do that. And a good example, and being part of what we shall learn in the basic packages, is Microsoft Publisher. Another very good example is Adobe InDesign. We have another legacy application, and that is Adobe PageMaker. So these are software that you can use for the publishing works, or they are normally in the category of computer publishing application software. So application software is a very big umbrella that carries so many software. We've not talked about video editors. We've not talked about photo editors. We've not talked about animation software like Blender and others. So this is a very broad spectrum, and it has millions and millions of software doing totally different things. So, but we've tried to minimize our scope to whatever we shall be learning in the basic digital literacy program. So I hope that was very clear. You have been able to understand the operating system and how it works on your computer. Just to remind you, we said an operating system like in your computer could be Windows 7, Windows 8, Windows 10, Windows 11. And then from there, we've talked about the application software. These are the software that allows you to perform your daily routine tasks. We've talked about software like Microsoft Word for typing letters. We have Excel for doing calculations, Access for storing data or managing records. We have PowerPoint for designing presentations. We have Publisher for publishing things like books, eulogies, and others. And we have other examples that we didn't mention, like for example, you have video editors, like we have Adobe Premiere. We have photo editors, like for instance, we have Adobe Photoshop. We have 3D modeling and animation software. For instance, we have Blender 3D, we have Maya and others. So this was something very interesting. Very sure you learned something and there's something that you understood. I was your teacher, Obed, and see you during the next lesson that we shall be talking about the motherboard and the computer memory. Thank you so much. Do not forget to subscribe. Do not forget to like and share the videos. In case you want to be one of our students, get assessment tests, practicals, and get certified at the end of the course, don't forget to register at www.obexictcenter.com. Thank you so much.
Yeah, Obex online niko tayari. Kwa simu yako ama kompyuta, ka nyumbani au kwa cyber. Tunasema elimu sio barrier.